Hey guys, Crypto Dad here again, and today I'm going to show you how to restore a Ledger Nano X cryptocurrency hardware wallet. So let's get started. All right, so the unthinkable has happened to you. You've had a problem with your Ledger Nano X hardware device. Now, it could be that the device itself glitched out on you and you had to do a reset of the device, or you damaged or lost your device and you've ordered a new replacement. All right. So here you go. You've got a new replacement here. So what do you do to regain access to all of your crypto assets? The restore can follow two scenarios, but I'm going to focus on the most common one. It's just the device that has a problem and you still have access to your Ledger Live. I get a lot of people that call me with this problem. So I have my copy of Ledger Live open, and as you can see, I have lots of crypto in there. Now, so what happens when people lose access to this device? They say things like, well, I can see it here in Ledger Live. Isn't it there in Ledger Live? Can't I get it out of Ledger Live somehow? And the answer really is no. If all you have is Ledger Live, it's not going to do you any good at all. You can look at it all day long, you can see it all day long, but there's nothing you can do until you get a device reconfigured that can manage this cryptocurrency. It's sort of like looking at that gold watch that you pawned in the pawn shop window, right? It's too late. There's nothing you can do. You can see it, but you can't do anything about it, right? So what you need in order to manage this crypto, I can look at this crypto in my Ledger Live. I can check my daily balances and all that good stuff. I could even send crypto in here if I wanted to, right? I could just go to my little Bitcoin wallet here and do a receive and continue and just say I don't have my device, and it will generate a Bitcoin address for me. And I can send Bitcoin into this wallet all day long. But I want to have full access. I want to be able to do a send, right? So that if I decide I want to send my Bitcoin somewhere, I can do that. So I have a fully functional copy of Ledger Live. I don't want to mess with Ledger Live at all. It's right where it needs to be. All I need to do is restore a new device, either your original device that's been reset or a brand new device that has never been touched before. We can restore the private key to this device. So there's a place you can go in Ledger Live that'll help you walk through all of this. So you go over here to the settings, and then you go over here to help. And down here, they have device setup, right? The device, right? We don't need to worry about Ledger Live. Ledger Live is fine, right? And notice what it says down here. Set up a new device or restore an existing device. Accounts and settings are kept, right? So we don't need to wipe anything out of Ledger Live. We don't need to change anything in Ledger Live. All our accounts are all set up, and they're just waiting for a device to control them. So we can just launch this, and it's going to walk us through this whole process. We'll click Get Started. We'll enter the setup. We'll choose our device. In today's case, I have a Ledger Nano X. The Ledger Nano S restore is very similar. You can pretty much follow along. If you have a Ledger device, you can follow this video. Pretty much the same steps. All right, we'll choose Ledger Nano X. It is not our first time using Ledger Nano X. This may be the first time we've used this one, but we already have a Ledger Nano X that we've replaced, right? And yes, we already have a recovery phrase. This is very important. When you set up your device the first time, you wrote down this recovery phrase on a sheet of paper. This is the key to restoring your device. The 24-word recovery phrase holds all of the information that you need to restore your device and all of the wallets that were on there. Right, so you want to make sure you have this, right? Dig it out of the drawer wherever you kept it, and then have this guy ready. All right, and you'll notice here that there are two options. One says, is your device already set up? That would be if the device were intact. If the device is not intact, we need to restore a device here. So we're going to restore our recovery phrase on a new device. This might be a tad deceptive because it's possible that you simply reset your existing device. So new device or reset device should work here, right? You may still have your original device and it just glitched out and you did a full reset. Or you inadvertently entered your PIN incorrectly 3 times, or something of that nature. So you're using the same device, it has just been reset. All right, so new device or reset device, either one. We'll go ahead and click this. All right, so this process is going to restore the private keys to this device. Every device from the factory comes blank, right? And when we initialize the device, it creates a random private key. Ledger has no record of any of these keys, right? So your device can create a random key when you first set it up. So what we want to do is restore the master private key that got generated when we initially set up our original device. All right, it says, okay, I'm ready. So let's click that. All right, this is kind of new. If someone gave you a recovery phrase, then it's probably not a good idea to use that. That means whoever gave it to you has full access to the same information you do. And if you were to use a pre-given recovery phrase from anywhere or anybody, they'll be able to access any crypto you deposit in the wallet after that, right? So you want to use your own recovery phrase, one that you wrote down that no one else knows about. Don't let someone else give you a recovery phrase and tell you, this is a great idea. It's not, right? They'll have full access to any wallets that you create. So don't do that. All right, so let's hit that. All right, so we've got the Nano on, and let me walk you through what that's going to look like. All right, so this is what the device is going to look like when you first turn it on. You can use these buttons to navigate, right? And when you see that little arrow there, it means that there's additional screen that you can advance to. So if you hit this button on this side, it moves you to the next screen. There are some instructions here that show you how to navigate, right? Now that you see the arrow on this side, you can move back. Explains the commands of the device, right? Hitting both buttons at the same time is going to activate a selection. And then if you were to hold both buttons down for a few seconds, you'll enter the command center. Right, so basically what we want to do is get all the way over till we see a command here. And this says set up as new device. Don't let this fool you. I know it's a brand new device. I know you just bought it, but what you want to do is restore it. You don't want to set it up as a new device. You want to restore. So you want to skip over this one more till you get to this one where it says restore from recovery phrase. That's what we want to do. All right. So we want to activate this command. So we just click both buttons at the same time. All right. Now we're going to need to set up a PIN code. All right. So we entered the PIN code. We can go over there. It gives us the information about the PIN code. All right, remember this is your PIN code. Don't use anyone else's. All right, we choose and we confirm PIN code. So you don't have to use the same PIN code that you used before. If you were using a PIN code on your original device, you don't need to worry about using the exact same one on your restored device. The PIN code and the private keys are independent of each other. So you can create a brand new PIN code for this guy if you want to. Or you can use the same one again. It doesn't really matter, right? Either way, you just need to create a PIN at this point. So I'll hit both buttons, and then I can navigate up and down to choose the number that I want. When I get to the number that I want, I'll hit both buttons. All right, and then when you hit both buttons, it advances over to the next digit. And then you can hit your up, down arrow buttons until you've chosen the number that you want. And then when you've done that, you'll hit both buttons and it'll go over to the next one. All right? Choose that and then up and down and then choose another. Now, when you get to this point, you'll see that little check mark. That check mark is indicating that you can stop now if you want. You can use a 4-digit PIN code if you want to. And if all you want to use is 4 digits, then that's fine. Just hit both buttons now and you'll be done with entering the PIN code. But if you wish to continue and enter a longer PIN code, then use these buttons up and down to choose a number and then advance. And you can end at 6 if you want to, and then just find the check mark, right? Or you can add all 8 digits, and when you get to the last digit, you'll hit both buttons, and then you'll be done. All right, and then when you hit that last number, it's going to ask you to confirm the PIN code. All that means is you just need to re-enter the same one you entered the first time. All right, and then when you get to that last digit, you'll hit both buttons, and it wants us to enter the recovery phrase. Now we enter the recovery phrase. All right, we go through that selection there. All right, they're giving us the walkthrough instructions here. So we'll go through this for all of the words now. All right, and that's where we get out our recovery phrase card. And we're going to need to enter all of these words. Now this part's going to be a little tedious, but if you've got thousands of dollars worth of crypto, then it's worth it, right? We want to gain access to the crypto that we can see in Ledger Live. So we'll start with word number 1. So we'll just go ahead and hit both buttons. We'll hit both buttons again to get to that. We've got a 24-word recovery phrase. If you have an older device with a different number of words, you can choose that. But in our case, we want 24. We'll hit both buttons. And now we're ready to go. We just start spelling out the word. We've got the alphabet here. We just scroll over to the first letter of the first word and hit both buttons. All right, and then we scroll over to the next letter. And then we scroll over to the next letter. All right, now the words that we're using here are from what's called the BIP39 word list, right? It is an industry standard word list. So there are 2,048 words on this list. So a lot of people think that maybe this set of recovery phrase words are from the entire English language. That is not correct. There are only 2,048 words in the list. Believe me, that's enough randomness to create an almost infinite amount of combinations, right? Very secure. So, but what that means is, as we start to spell out these words, it's going to quickly know which word we're trying to use, right? Because if we go down to the H's here, notice that, if you recall, my first word was honey, Honey. And after I hit the N, it pulled up the word honey. That is because there was no other word in the list that had HON, right? So as soon as I hit that third letter, it knew the word I was looking for. And that's why it's not going to be as difficult as having to spell out every single word. You'll hit 3, maybe 4 letters, and then it will know which word you're looking for. All right, so just keep that in mind. I had someone ask me about this. They thought it was insecure, or that it knew the words or something like that. That's not what's going on here. It knows within the word list which word you're looking for after 3 or 4 choices. All right, so let's continue. All right, so we found our word. So now we can hit both buttons. It asks us to start entering word number 2. So as you can see, that one's burst, B-U-R-S-T. So I'll just navigate until I get to the letter B. All right, I'll hit both buttons. And then now I'm looking for U. And now R. Right? Now, as you notice, it's pulled up the word burden. There is more than one word that has the first 3 letters B-U-R in the list, right? So in this case, we need to advance to the next word. See, there's another word that starts with B-U-R. We just advance till we find our word, B-U-R-S-T. We'll hit both buttons there. All right, now it's asking us for word number 3. We'll hit that. Notice it's pretty much just offering us vowels. We'll hit O, or look for that M. And here we go again. There is more than one word that starts with C-O-M in that list. So let's advance until we find the word we want. There it is, company. Hit both buttons. And then we'll continue on doing this until we've spelled out all of the words. Now, as you can see, I'm on word number 14, and I've gotten to the word part, and it does not show my word, right? That means that I made a mistake, right? Instead of S-I-E, I put in S-E instead of S-I, right? But I can, at this point, I don't have to start over. I can just go over to clear word, right? And then I can start over on word number 14. There's also a backspace if you need to backspace back. I did the same thing I did the last time. There we go. All right, notice how the word number is always here at the top of your screen in case you get confused. Just make sure that you're always using the word number that you have on the list. All right, and when we get to this last word, we'll hit both buttons. You'll see that processing there, and then it says your device is ready. Now, if you get to the end of this or you get almost through it, and at some point it tells you that it's an invalid phrase or you don't see your word at all, then that means you've made a mistake along the way somewhere, and you're going to have to go ahead and finish up as much as you can until it says it's an invalid phrase and start over again, right? You just need to be patient and get this done. Now that we've got to this point, I'll just advance over and then I'll get to this access dashboard and we'll hit both buttons. All right, now it's going to do the genuine check. All right, so we still have our device attached. At this point, we should be at this home screen here. So with the device connected, we'll hit check my Nano. All right, it's going to ask us to allow Ledger Manager. We'll hit both buttons for this. All right, and then we get this little all good, which tells us that our device has been restored successfully. And then we can continue. And now we're back at this screen, right? And we can go back here to accounts. We have restored the master private key of the device, but there is a missing step. There's one more task we need to do, and that is to install all of the apps that were on here before, right? So in order for me to send Bitcoin, I need the Bitcoin app on my device. So if I choose to do a receive, all right, see, notice it's checking to see if I have the apps that I need, and I don't. All right, so it didn't give me an error telling me that I didn't have the Bitcoin app, but it's obvious. So basically what you need to do is just make sure that you've reinstalled all of the apps you had on there before so that you'll have access to the crypto. So you can go up here to accounts and just look at all of the ones that you've got, right? Stellar, Litecoin, Digibyte, Tezos, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin. I just need to go through and reinstall those apps on my device. All right, so we'll just go over here to Manager. All right, and there's all of the apps that are available. The Ledger Nano X can hold about 30 apps or 30 plus apps. So just go ahead and install all of the apps that you need. You can even do them at the same time. So I'll go ahead and install. Now, you may also have been managing other wallets using third-party apps. You may have a Cardano wallet on this device, right? So you'll want to also reinstall those third-party apps that are not supported in Ledger Live, like Cardano, Solana, Dot. Just make sure that you put on all of the apps that you had on there before, and it will recreate all of the wallets that you had. All right, if you get an error message like this, connection error, don't panic. Just disconnect and reconnect your device and start over again. All right, go ahead and enter your PIN. All right, after you reconnect your device, you'll just allow Ledger Manager again. And then just continue on with what you were doing before. Just go ahead and get all these installed. All right, you'll see processing on your device. All right, and then when you've got all of your apps on your device, you're ready to go. All right, now that we've got all of the apps that were on there before reinstalled, it's time to just double check everything to make sure that this is correct. There's a real easy way to confirm that the account is set up properly, and that is to do an address check. And you can do an address check by doing a receive. So we'll just go over here to accounts. Right, I'll go down to one of my Bitcoin accounts, and then I'll do a receive. So when I choose receive and then hit continue, I've got the Bitcoin app on there now, right? So it's asking me to open the Bitcoin app. I'll hit both buttons, let it open the Bitcoin app, and notice there that it's showing the address on my device, and I can confirm that it's the same one showing up in Ledger Live. That is a confirmation that that particular wallet is definitely configured properly for this device, or vice versa. This device is now configured properly for that account, right? So you should be fine. You'll be able to send and receive Bitcoin, no problem, using this device, right? And then we can just go over here to approve, hit both buttons, right? And then we can just do done here. We'll go over, let's check the Ethereum account. We'll do the same thing. We'll click on the Ethereum account. We'll do receive, continue, and it should ask us to open the Ethereum app, right? We'll hit both buttons for that. All right, and then it'll ask us to verify the address. You'll see the Ethereum address on your device, and you'll be able to match it to the one you see on your screen, and that'll confirm that the device is configured correctly for this account. All right, we'll hit approve. Then we'll just go down the line, go down each of your accounts, and just double check, do a receive, and make sure that the addresses match when they come up on the screen. Right, it's going to ask us to open Stellar at this point. Right. All right, that's going to ask us to confirm the address. We'll just move over one. We can see the address there. It's a little bit longer for Stellar, so it'll show us in two screens. We'll confirm that and then hit approve. All right, and we'll just do that on down the line for all of our accounts. Make sure that the wallet is configured properly. And there you go. Now you have completely restored your device using the 24-word recovery phrase, and now it matches all of these accounts. And now you have full access to your crypto again, and you've like reset or replaced your device using the original recovery phrase. Now, I know there are a lot of newbie mistakes with the Ledger device and Ledger Live. Most of you should be just fine. You may have an account in here that it doesn't recognize for some reason. Now, it's possible that you reset your device inadvertently and set up a brand new configuration. I've seen people do this inadvertently. They don't realize what's going on. When they do a restore, they set it up as new again, and then they create new accounts. And so some of these accounts may not match. You may have created an account on a brand new configuration. So what would you do in that situation? Well, in that situation, you would need to look for another recovery phrase that you wrote down, because it's always going to ask you to write down a new recovery phrase if you accidentally create a new configuration. You might have more than one recovery phrase laying around. You may have lost your original, I don't know. But most likely, if you've got accounts in here that don't match up after a restore, you possibly created new configurations. Another common mistake that I see people, or confusion that people get, is that the accounts don't match, and it's because they've used a different device. I've talked to a lot of people that have multiple devices. They may have one or two or three devices laying around their house, and they've used each of those devices to create accounts. And so if you run across an account in Ledger Live that does not match up when you do a receive on your newly restored device, check your drawers, make sure you don't have another ledger laying around that you may have used to set up that particular account, right? Because each account that's set up in Ledger Live is device specific, right? It matches the device that you used when you first set up the account. So I've seen a lot of confusion and weird configurations that people get into because they're new and they don't quite understand what's going on. So if you have most of your accounts matching and one of them doesn't match for some bizarre reason, see if you have another 24-word recovery phrase laying around. That might be the configuration that you used when you set up that account. If that's not the case, then look around for another ledger device that you may have. A lot of people, they're screaming and crying and telling me that, the count isn't matching up. And then I'll ask them, well, do you have more than one ledger device? And they'll go, well, yeah, but that's not it. And I'll say, yeah, it is. Go check the other device. I hope that this all goes smoothly for you. This is the standard way to do a restore. And then you'll be all ready to go and you'll have access to all of your crypto again. If you have any questions about anything I did, please throw them up in the comments and I'll do my best to get them answered. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon.